I would say it was not good. You didn't do a lot to build heat towards your pay-per-view that's on Sunday. Normally, their go-homes are so good. I don't know what happened tonight.
Less kayfabe.
MJF is going to win this thing.
More chaos.
Tony, I'm sorry that I thought that.
All elite. This is the Elite Heat Podcast. The Elite Heat Podcast. With Tim and Doug.
If you're scoring at home, or even if you're by yourself, week 3 of me having not fixed the mic stand.
I was not going to bring it up.
I feel I have to explain it.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I feel compelled to explain it. And I think really what happens is I'm going to sit in here and hold this thing for like an hour while we babble about wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to leave the room and completely forget about it until the next time we go to record. And then I'm going to go, come on.
Understood.
Damn it.
I do have a bit of a clarifying question.
Yes.
Scoring at home or by yourself?
Mm-hmm. If you're scoring at home or even if you're by yourself. Get
that
it?
kind of scoring.
Yeah, there it is. I knew you'd get there.
Yeah.
There it is.
I was.
Yep. To be fair, that's not a me original. I think Keith Olbermann used to say that on SportsCenter sometimes.
Well, then I don't like it.
Well, he was good on SportsCenter. Anyway.
I stand by what I said.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so let's jump into 3 hours of wrestling. Now, I don't know. My wife asked me this. I'm curious what you think, Doug. Do you think they did this because they got bumped by the NHL playoffs, or is it because I wondered if they were just not going to do Collision because Double or Nothing is Sunday, but I don't know.
It could be either or maybe a little of both. I would assume it's because the pay-per-view Sunday, but
I mean, they've certainly done it before, but I don't know. I don't know.
Anyway, did they? No, they didn't do it last week, but still.
No, but they did it 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
So not unlike your multi-person matches, this is a thing right now.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of multi-person matches.
Yeah, we jump in with one with the Bucks of Jericho or Y2 Jackson.
I got to admit, Y2 Jackson, I didn't like it.
No, I didn't like that one either.
I thought it was weak. Weak sauce. Come on, Jericho. You're better than that.
But wasn't that a callback, though, to when they did team together? Wasn't that one of the names? Because the whole intro video reminded me a lot of BTE from back when they were doing that. I think it was the first Jericho Cruise is when they did it, if I recall correctly. That's why they had like Alpha Club on the back of the vest. Like,
got it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I've clearly blocked that from my brain hole, so maybe.
Well, to be fair, that was, 7-8 years ago, give or take?
7-8. 7-8. I remember.
Yeah, I'm making that a thing now. 6-7 has had its day. Now it's time for 7-8. And then after that, we're going to do a couple tree. But anyway.
Yeah, I like that one.
Well,
that one's my favorite. Let's just skip the 7-8 and go right to couple tree.
Okay, so we had a couple tree guys in the ring here. So Bucks and Jericho versus Mark Davis, Andrade, and Ricochet. And really my main takeaway from this was, I told you the How You Know t-shirt was coming. Called that.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Well played, sir.
Thank you.
Well played.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this was what it was. I thought it interesting that Jericho and Ricochet got out of the action kind of early on in the match and went to the back and didn't really see him again. And then everybody who's going to be in the match got involved except for Kenny.
Right.
So,
who's still MIA.
Yeah, I have not seen Kenny yet. So, I mean, it did what it was supposed to do. It was really nice to see Hurt Syndicate actually on TV for Dynamite.
Yeah, yep.
But that's all we saw of them is in the scrum there. But it did the job. It was a good little, pull apart. The faces wound up on top, which makes me, as usual, makes me feel like they're going to lose on Sunday. But
yeah,
it was fine.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, look, yeah, it was fine. It did what it needed to do. I've never seen a sack of onions used as a weapon before. That was fun.
That was one of the few things I wrote down.
Yeah.
But that was so good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. It did what it needed to do. It helped build the hype for Stadium Stampede, which is going to be fine, but is a match that, like we talked about when they made it, there's not really stakes per se attached to this. It'll be fun.
No, really.
it'll be a good match that will probably end up calling one of the better matches of the night. And, then we'll see what comes out of it, if anything.
Right. I'm hoping that we will be left with a pile of storylines, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Who knows? So I will touch on the backstage with Darby and Renee because they started laying the groundwork for this last Saturday on Collision of the pace is catching up to Darby.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about that in the backstage here. And my thought on this was I would imagine this will be a big part of why and how he loses if he loses on Sunday.
Yep, I would tend to agree. They have been laying that groundwork, and they've been, again, kudos to Darby for playing a part that hasn't been played in AEW and maybe any other company of the world champ fighting every single week, sometimes twice a week. It's been really cool to see, and no better guy to do it than Darby. But you're right. Last Saturday, they started laying that ground where he had that weird thing where they kept saying his body gave out. And, so the groundwork has been laid. He's going to, like he said, he's going to put the foot on the gas until it don't go no more. Mm-hmm. And so maybe Sunday it stops. We'll have to find out.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely at least casting doubt.
100%.
And I think that it all plays into what we've been talking about for a little bit now with the World Championship match of, I don't know how this is going to go because on one hand, I can't imagine they're actually going to shave Max's head.
No, I don't believe that for a minute.
They might. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, never say never. I do not believe for a minute Max is getting his head shaved.
No, and then, but the reaction to Darby having the belt has been so good, it made me go, I don't know if you take it off him right now. And so, anyway, good job to them on building a world title program here that I legitimately don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
Which has not been the case for world title programs in any company for, I'd say, quite a while. More often than not, you got a pretty good feeling on how it's going to go. This one, flip a coin, and I'll go with it,
I mean, the last time we thought we were sure, we were wrong, and Darby won.
Yeah. So I am really, really interested in the match, and that obviously is what matters here.
Yep.
So they've done a really good job with that.
I agree.
That's
all. I agree.
Okay. Yeah, you're damn right you agree.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't know. We'll cut all that. So the next match up was Ciampa versus Briscoe in an anything goes match. I felt this was just a good old-fashioned hardcore match. It really reminded me of when they used to do those. It's kind of goofy, but also kind of not.
Mm-hmm.
Which I suppose makes sense given that Mick Foley is now all elite and he has his bag. So maybe nice little tribute to him there. I don't know.
I just wrote down violent.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly, for me, I thought it, and I know it was no holds barred. I didn't think the violence and the blood was necessary for this match, but they went to it early. And it was, like I said, it was fine. I'm not sure what we got out of this match, but I always like seeing Briscoe on TV, and Ciampa's always going to put on a show. So solid match, liked watching it, but storyline wise, I don't know where we're at. So, okay.
Yeah, that's not the only one we're going to say that about tonight I'm not sure what came out of it. I think you can make an argument it was a pay-per-view match on free TV.
Oh, yeah.
But, it was fine. But I agree with you. I'm not sure what it does for anybody involved here.
Yep.
Or what it does for us.
For a go-home show, I don't know what it did to lead up to the pay-per-view.
Yep. And that is that's gonna come back around. Like I said, that's not the only time we're gonna say that. That's gonna come back around. Then Shivani was in the ring to get interrupted by Prince Nana to get him some heat, and then Swerve came out and immediately got jumped by Bandido, which I'll be honest, I didn't see coming. I liked it. I thought Bandido looked good there.
Yep.
Which was, I think, important to show, hey, don't write him off in the match at Double or Nothing.
Yeah, I wrote down loved it because, like you, I did not expect Bandido to just snipe him like that. And I thought it was really appropriate. I thought it really was living up to the most wanted moniker that he's had and hasn't really been playing that role a ton. So I really like that. And it was a good back and forth. This did exactly what it should do, which is build interest for a match that really felt a bit forced before now. And at least now it's like, all right, cool. This has some legs. I'll watch this match. I was going to anyway, but I'm a little more interested than I was before.
Yeah, I agree. I think it did a decent job of building some heat around that match for Double or Nothing. Then Willow told us that apparently she's legitimately hurt and is going to have to drop the TBS Championship and drop out of the Owen. I bring this up, A, because that's a bummer.
Yes,
Feel
it
bad
is.
for her.
Yep.
But B, make your bets on who the wild card is, because now there's a wild card that will take her spot in the Owen.
Before you say your thought, I'm going to tell you mine, and you can tell me if we're thinking the same thing.
Okay.
And I make this choice because of something she said.
Okay.
She name dropped Mercedes Moné.
That's who I thought too.
I can't believe it's going to be anyone but Mercedes Moné.
The only reason that I slightly hesitate to say that it's going to be Mercedes is I thought going into, and this may have been the plan that's now been changed, but I thought going into Double or Nothing, she would make an appearance after the women's championship match ended because I think it is time to get her in that picture.
Yep.
This, to be fair, would be another path for her into the world championship picture if she wins the Owen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking it's Mercedes as well. I'll be pretty stunned if it's somebody else. I'm not even sure who else it would be, but
I don't know who you have left.
yeah, I think it would have to be somebody that's not currently in the company, which is kind of the whole women's Owen anyway.
Mm-hmm. So, it was interesting because they talked about surprise entrances for the men's Owen, and it ended up being Hangman who won, and that would led to his path. So I am curious to see if it's not Mercedes, I really don't know who they're going to pull out of the hat to make this happen.
One name that just popped into my head that is with the company is Ruby Soho.
Oh, that would be a good comeback. Yeah. That would be good.
But I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah.
I'd bet on Mercedes.
I haven't heard any rumblings of her wanting to get back in the ring.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And, sometimes it just takes the right situation, and maybe this is it for Ruby. I don't know. But yeah, I would bet pretty hard on it being the former Sasha Banks.
Or Io Sky.
Well,
just thought of that.
She's still with WWE, though. Are you thinking Kairi Sane?
Kairi Sane. Yeah, sorry.
But the pause was first me going, oh, yeah, it could be. And then me going, wait, that's not the right person.
Yeah, I had the wrong.
That's okay.
Warrior. Sorry.
But my brain went to Kairi Sane. So I was with you on that. But that would be interesting. And that I would be very on board for because I love her. But
yeah.
Okay. I still think it's Mercedes. But we'll see.
I do too. But that the wrong name popped in my head. So I said it out loud because I don't have a filter.
That's fine. Well, I knew who you meant. We got there in the end. That's what matters.
Yes, we did.
Then it was Mox and Kyle O'Reilly 3. Am I right on that? This is the third match between them. So I had two thoughts on this match, and I'm curious about the second one, if you're going to agree with me on this or not. First thought was, so, when Renee is like, oh, I asked John whatever. Do you think that she asked him the question like while they were brushing their teeth in the morning or something?
Probably. That's exactly how I picture it.
I assume that's when she does the interviews. Yeah.
I assume her toothbrush looks like a microphone.
It probably does. It probably does. I bet her mic stand isn't broken. But anyway. Mine sure is. But anyway. So to be fair with what I'm about to say, I missed the very end of the match because dog stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not entirely certain if that would have changed things. This one, maybe my expectation going into it was too high because their other two were really good. This one fell a little flat for me.
I will say the first half fell flat. I thought it got better.
Mm-hmm.
in the last 5 minutes. When they came back to the last 5 minutes, I thought it was a better match, but it did feel a little flat. It felt a little weird, but I did like the last 5 minutes. And I thought early on when they both started going for submissions early, I thought we could see our first time limit with Mox. And sure enough, we did. And I like that. I think that was the right move. I think it was I really liked how that continued the storyline. It wasn't a win for Mox. It wasn't a win for Kyle. So
yeah,
you keep going.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the time limit draw. Like, I could hear it in the background, right? I just didn't see it. So I have no problem with the time limit draw. The match, I saw most of the match, and it just, I don't know, it just fell a little flat with me. I don't know. Like I said, it might have been my expectations were too high. I'm not sure.
It was definitely it was slightly different match, and I agree, but I can't put my finger on it either.
Yeah.
As soon as Kyle got the body shot and started, I was like, I even wrote down the story is now Kyle's midsection.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I really appreciated about that. The minute Kyle went to hit the ropes, he stopped because it hurt. And
that was good. That was
so often we don't see that. And I was like,
yeah, that was good.
Yep. I really liked it. I thought he sold the midsection really well for the entire match. When he went to get Mox's ankle, I thought, and was kicking on his legs, I thought Mox did a decent job. So I really liked the back and forth, the kicks. And so I think this was built to be a war of attrition where neither one was going to give up. And so that may be why it felt a little flat, because the other two felt more energetic and more frantic.
Yeah.
This felt a little more plodding, but for a reason. So I'm willing to forgive the slight flatness for the fact that I enjoyed how they continued the storyline and it made complete sense. So
okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I disliked it. It just fell a little flat for me. You know what I mean?
And I'm not disagreeing either. I 100% understand it.
Yeah. No, you just said that everything I said was wrong, and I'm pretty sure you also called me ugly in there.
No. I called you stupid.
Well, see, I didn't understand that because I'm stupid.
Because you're ugly?
That's it, yeah.
We don't mean it. We're life partners, so there.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring this up mostly because I missed it, and I want you to tell me what happened. I know Sheeta did a promo, but I don't know what happened because, again, I was in a different room.
It was weird again, and they started, I think Renee asked Statlander about Willow. I believe that's what it was. She started going off that it's too bad, and Sheeta interrupted and was like, what matters is that we're going to win, and we're going to win. And finally, Statlander just grabbed her and said, keep an eye out for yourself, and then turned around and left in a huff.
Yeah, I was saying, ain't no we in that match, but
yeah. So it was, I just put down weird.
Yeah.
Stat isn't having Sheeta's gimmick, and okay.
I'm not sure I'm having it either.
I mean, it does layer in we know something's going to break at the pay-per-view Sunday between those two. Just what direction it falls and who's going to cost who what is the big question, I guess.
Yeah.
But again, it's a bit of a thin road 4-way match where we aren't even talking about the fourth competitor hardly at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. In fact, I have to stop and think about who the four people in it are. You know what I mean? Like I know those two, and then I have to stop and go, okay, well, so Tekla, and then wait, who's the fourth? Yeah.
Half of the birds.
Yeah, it's Jamie Hayter for those of you, again, scoring at home or even if you're by yourself.
It should have been more clear. But yeah. Jamie Hayter.
But anywho, again, I probably would gloss over this if it didn't come back sort of later in the show, but then Roosh called his shot for the world title. Look, I like Roosh, so I'm on board with it. He's not going to win. No matter who it is, he's not going to win.
Probably not. But at least, but here's what I'll give him. You and I had talked about how we missed seeing him and he was back. Mm-hmm. He was having a bunch of squash matches, and we were both like, well, I hope this leads to something. Now, should it lead logically to a world title shot? Probably not. But if that gets him into a high-profile match and gets him some more credibility and more airtime, great. I'm in. I want to see him. Because I think he's really good, and I would think he could be a very dominant champ if he ever won. I don't think he's going to, but I
No,
think
I
it'll
don't
be
either.
really, really interesting. And if he does get a title shot, I think the much more interesting matchup is him and Darby than him and MJF. I think him and Darby stylistically would be a much more entertaining match.
Yep, I agree. I think the best thing that they could do at this point is if they put the belt on MJF, I should say, if he wins, I think the best thing that they could do is have him immediately shut that stuff down.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately just, nope, I don't care. You didn't earn it. You beat a bunch of no names. I don't care. No, you're not getting it. Kevin Knight, you're not getting it. This is over. This crap is over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. Then multi-person match. We got the 8-woman match, which was bizarre to me again, of Athena and Triangle of Madness versus Thunder Rosa, Mina Shirakawa, and the Brawling Birds.
Yep.
I don't know how this came together.
I don't know why it came together.
I don't know why it came together. I guess it's based off that run-in where you and I last week were going, why was Thunder Rosa there?
Mm-hmm.
It again begs the question, why is Thunder Rosa not in the Owen?
Yep. I mean, she could be the wild card. I mean,
I guess, yeah,
it
at
wouldn't
this
be
point.
as dramatic, but she could be.
Yeah.
Because really, the only... So you had... Because Mina's in the Owen, and so is Alex Windsor.
And Athena. Athena's in it.
And I was side by side. So, and Athena and Sky Blue.
I see what you're doing. My bad.
So, I mean, I guess that's a reason to do that, because it wouldn't make sense to just have Sky and Athena team unless you just said, let's have these people in the Owen fight each other. That's as good a reason as any.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we had another... I just wrote Black Mist for the win. Decent match.
Yeah, it was a decent match. It wasn't my favorite. I did notice Tekla basically stayed out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I felt my sense of it was that Jamie Hayter did as well. And I don't know if that was they're banged up, so they're trying to protect them, or if it was just let's make sure these two don't accidentally get hurt since they're part of the title match on Sunday. I'm guessing it's that one.
I mean, since Willow just had to drop a belt because she was hurt, I could definitely see that being a thing.
Yeah, I'm guessing that it's the let's protect them and protect the women's championship match.
What do you have to say?
Huh? Hi.
What do you have to say? Put me down, Dad.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Okay. How about you do that? Okay, bye.
Yeah, I don't know. It was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought I had the same thought. Black Mist again. I thought Thunder Rosa's sell of it was kind of weak, but that's just me.
Okay, and this is me nitpicking.
Yeah.
The Black Mist.
Yeah.
Right? I get it. You spray anybody in the face with any liquid, it debilitates them for at least a 3 count. I understand that. That's wrestling science. That's how it works. But for the ref to, at the end of the match, be looking at his shirt like, where'd this come from? You know where it came from. It's the woman with the black crap running out of her face hole. That's where it came from. Don't look like you don't know. It's all over the mat. And I know it's stupid, and I know it's...
No,
don't be so effing dumb.
I agree with you. Like, it's my issue with anybody doing the mist in a match, right, where you win. I'm not talking about after the match, right?
Right.
Is exactly what you just said. What referee doesn't turn around, see a person lying on the mat, and their face is obviously covered in an illegal substance, and doesn't immediately go, well, you're DQ'd.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't make logical sense. And I know we're applying logic to professional wrestling. I know. But like, I will say this. I thought tonight was another night where they made the referees look bad. And that's one of the times where they made the referee look bad.
Yeah. I mean, especially at the end of the match when you're showing a camera angle of the black mist splatter all over the ring.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. All right, I'm off my high horse on that one. I'm off.
That's fine. Yeah, we can move on because that match was kind of a throwaway in my opinion.
Again, I don't see how it forwarded our storyline. Yes, we had 4 women in the Owen in it, but
I
didn't
agree.
feel like there was a lot of back and forth between those four in particular.
Mm-hmm. I think you could have furthered the storyline just by having them cut promos on each other. Yeah. Jet Speed promo was after that. I bring that up mostly for the awkward stare at the camera at the end. That was...
I hate that.
I do too. That was weird.
Yep.
Then the Death Riders were doing push-ups, and it turned into a weird rambling promo from Mox. I don't know what we're talking about Game 7, and I enjoyed his line of "the house finally wins," because, John, I'm not sure you know this, the saying is "the house always wins," and maybe that was supposed to be some sort of joke. I don't know.
I think it's a Double or Nothing reference.
Probably.
Gambling.
Yeah.
But, yeah, not really how the saying goes.
No. Didn't make a lot of sense.
I just put Death Rider Calisthenics,
Mm-hmm.
and he thanked Kyle, which that was the part of the promo I liked. Everything else was kind of awkward and weird, but I did like the thank you, Kyle, for pushing me and making me, have to face the things I've been trying to do this whole time. So,
yeah.
Again, these weird ramblings, they're starting to make more sense, but they're still pretty weird and rambly. So
that's kind of my issue with him is you have the seed of a really good promo. All he had to do to make that promo work was go all the stuff about thanking him. Thank you for pushing me and making me do all this stuff. Thank you. And then all he has to do is go, and now you're going to reap what you've sown.
Yeah.
You've pushed me to be the best I can be, and now you're going to find out at Double or Nothing. That's all he had to do.
Yep.
All he had to do. But instead we get weird gambling references and Game 7 references. And
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Speedball and Darby were next.
Yes. Did you, by the way, before we even get into that, did you watch Collision this past Saturday?
No, but I've seen some clips. I've seen some highlights.
I highly recommend watching the Sammy Guevara Darby Allin match. It was amazing.
I've seen many clips from it, and I'm like, man, I need to watch that. Yeah.
It was so good. And I was like, man, I forgot how good Sammy Guevara is. And they made each other look amazing. And Sammy put on a hell of a match. Like, he came at him from the get-go, and so good. So highly recommend that a watch of that for anybody, because if you haven't seen it, it's well worth a watch just for that alone.
Yeah, Sammy is a guy that I'd like to see back on Dynamite. But anywho, really good match, I thought, with Speedball and Darby. I liked how Speedball, kind of like what you were saying with Sammy, they just came right out of the gate going at him. Honestly, I think this is my match of the night. I had written down match of the night contender, and I don't think anybody took it from them.
Mm-hmm. I can't really argue that one.
Yeah, so I'm going to say match of the night for me. MJF on commentary was great. I thought it did a nice job of furthering the storyline with Max and Darby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I thought
it was good.
I thought Max putting Speedball's foot on the rope was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I thought with Jet coming out, I thought maybe we would see a weird little...
That's what I thought too.
I think I'm wrong. I don't think that's going to be a swerve now. I don't think he's going to turn. I think I'm just wrong. I think I was just reading too much into what I wanted to see, and I don't think you
were. I don't think you were, though, because there were so many little things that they were doing that made me think, yeah, the turn is coming, and it makes sense to have those two go at it because both of them kind of don't have anything to do right now, and one of them has a title.
Yep.
So fight over that.
Yep.
And then tonight they just completely undid it because Kevin Knight didn't act a little smarmy in the promo like he had been doing. He helped out Speedball. I thought for sure when Darby had Speedball in the sharpshooter, I don't care, it's the sharpshooter.
It is.
I thought, and Kevin Knight's there yelling like, just get to the rope, it's right here. I thought he was going to pull the rope back.
That's exactly what I thought was going to happen.
I really thought he was going to yank it away from Speedball at the last second. When that didn't happen, that surprised me.
Yes. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then it didn't, and then he tapped. But again, I thought that was a really, really good match. I liked MJF jumping him from behind. I thought it was really interesting that MJF came at him with clippers.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, do you really even want those around? anywhere within a 50-yard radius of you right now? I don't think so.
I wouldn't if
And
I were
then,
him.
as he's walking off, I thought he was channeling one of his best Ric Flairs with when he was yelling, "That's my belt," and it just felt so Ric Flair-esque the way he was saying it. So I'm torn between whether this was my match of the night or the Mox Kyle O'Reilly, and probably this one because the action and the storyline were both great, as opposed to the storyline was better for the storyline outweighed the action for the Mox O'Reilly match. So
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think this one is my match of the night. So yeah,
I mean,
it was solid.
For me, from that criteria, it's between those two because I like to throw in what you mentioned there of did it also advance the storyline? I would argue that really, for the most part, those were the two matches that really did advance storyline.
Well, yeah.
There were really only like 4 that advanced storyline, and those two did the best job of it.
Well, yeah, 100%. The
Yeah.
ladies didn't really advance any storylines.
No.
The Briscoe Ciampa match did next to nothing to advance any storyline. So
Right. I mean, when we get to the, I guess, main event, it didn't advance storyline, in my opinion, and it's the main event of the go home. But anyway, before we get to that, so Ospreay and Shibata had a really good match.
yeah, technically first match of Collision, right?
Yep, correct. They had a really good match.
Yeah.
I would say this is one of the 4 that did some storyline advancing because of the promo after the match.
Yes.
I didn't think it was Joe's best work, and I say that with love for Samoa Joe, but it wasn't his best one. But I thought Ospreay was real good on the mic here.
I thought I just put hell of a promo from Ospreay because he was so passionate and so good. And to be honest, I'm glad you brought up the Joe thing because other than I think his very first return promo, I don't think his promos have been on point like they have been in the past. And maybe it's just it feels like a bit of a weak storyline hook for it, and it feels like the passion isn't manufactured as opposed to really feeling it from Joe, which you normally do.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I'm glad you brought that up because something's just felt a little off about his promos. Not that they're terrible because they're not, but it does feel a little off. But man, the Ospreay promo was great, and this is probably I was separating them. This is probably this overall possibly my match of the night between the two shows.
Sure, that's fair. I lumped them all into one, but that's fair. Yeah.
My Collision match of the night. But
yeah, if you split them, it's definitely Collision match of the night. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a real tough call for me for either one of those, but I'm not going to argue because both were great.
Yeah.
For storyline and for action. So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree with you on everything there. And yeah, I think you really hit on something with Joe. It doesn't feel like he's feeling it.
Yeah.
And this line over and over about, well, you chose not to be my friend. And it's like, okay, it just doesn't feel like, I think he'd be better off just saying, do you understand what happens when you cross Samoa Joe? And that's what you've done. That would be a better angle than, well, I take care of my friends, but you chose not to be my friend. And so now I'm going to make your dream match a nightmare. At what point did Ospreay say it was his dream match? Like, it just didn't. Yeah, it's just not hitting, man. It's just not hitting.
It does feel like a junior high couple fighting because they didn't get accepted to the dance.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's like,
yeah.
And I think you're right. I think that's why it's not hitting is because it doesn't feel like a Joe reason.
Yeah.
You don't care that he's your friend. You care that he crossed you, and you care
that he said no to you.
Yes, and you just don't do that.
Yeah. Anyway, it'll be a good match at Double or Nothing, though.
Yeah,
no doubt about that. So then the Cope and Cage promo happened where Christian remains incredible.
He's so good.
He's so good. That's really all I have to say about that. He remains incredible.
It did the job. It reminded us what's at stake, and it's okay.
Yeah. Roosh then got in the ring with a guy that was going to lose.
Yep.
A guy who was kind of the definition of already in the ring, and they do the intro.
Yep.
And I really only bring it up because Roosh had appeared on the Dynamite portion, calling his shot for the world title. He comes in, he smokes this guy. He does a quick little thing afterward, basically reminding whoever's champion, when you mess with the bull, you get the horns. Great. Love Roosh. Look forward to the match. He's not going to win.
No, but he's going to look great trying.
He is. He's going to look great trying, and then he'll probably get relegated to the sidelines again, and that's going to suck. But
it will.
I hope I'm wrong. Divine Dominion. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry.
No, I was just like, same. I don't want to see him go to the wayside, but fingers crossed.
Yeah. Divine Dominion then did their 5-minute challenge against some people you will not see again.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never believe this. Divine Dominion won in less than 5 minutes. And then the main event of the conglomeration.
Before we get to that, I do want to comment. Like, at first, I was like, wasn't super thrilled with this whole 5-minute challenge thing, but tonight, after seeing about 3 of them now, I think this is the 3rd or 4th one I've seen, it's like, okay, I kind of get, yes, they're building them up against basically nobodies, but they are so pitching them as unbeatable, and they're basically only doing it on Collision, but they are really positioning Divine Dominion as there isn't a team that's going to be able to stop them, period. Full stop. So I hope they are trying to come up with a team that's going to be viable. I hope they have something waiting in the wings that will pay this off. But I do kind of like how they are pitching them as just so dominant. But I hope it goes somewhere with someone rising or someone, a new team forming from out of somewhere that makes sense. That's all. I just really hope it's going somewhere. For a storyline that I didn't think was a storyline, it's like, okay, I kind of see it now. So,
yeah, I mean, I understand the concept behind it. I mean, this isn't new, right? This is they did it with Wardlow where he would just power bomb people and be done in 60 seconds. And they did a thing in NXT that was kind of fun for a while, if you remember this, where it was Baron Corbin and Bull Dempsey.
Okay, I was not watching NXT at the time. No.
So this was kind of fun where usually the way it would go is Bull Dempsey would come out and wreck somebody, and then Corbin would come out immediately when the match ended, and they'd like glare at each other on the ramp, right? And then it was, could Baron Corbin beat his opponent faster than Bull Dempsey? And it wasn't like an official thing. It was just like a competition between the two of them. It was kind of fun for a little bit. It was kind of fun. So I get the idea behind it. You're in all these situations, you're positioning the person as an unbeatable monster. My issue with the Divine Dominion thing is you're having them beat nobodies in 5 minutes. It's more impressive if you beat somebody that I know who they are in 5 minutes. And also, I don't think you have to convince me that they're unbeatable monsters. Look at them.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're champions. This isn't you're building them on the road to a championship. They've already got the belts. I would like to see them compete with actual credible teams. And I'm with you. I hope somebody rises on that, to the occasion here.
I think they're on a squash tour because there isn't that team. Because I
think that's fair.
I can't think of one right now. I mean, you've already tried to use the Brawlin' Birds, right? Or no?
I don't know. They've not had that's been my complaint with it is they did all this stuff to hype them specifically as a team, the Brawling Birds specifically as a team, and then they've teamed together like I think 5 times now. And I get that Alex Windsor has a belt, and I get that they have been putting Jamie Hayter in the title scene for reasons I can't explain. But like that's my issue with the 4-way. Is you could have had a women's tag match between the Brawling Birds and Divine Dominion, and then you could have had this could have been a 3-person match with Tekla and Statlander and Sheeta, which actually would have been more interesting because then it would be, if Sheeta and Statlander are supposed to be teammates, well, Tekla's in a real bad spot then, but it's every woman for themselves, right? Like that would have been a more interesting story. We didn't do that.
No, we did not.
And so like that's my issue with how they're booking the women right now is so much of it doesn't make sense. And so much of it feels to me like we talked about last week of we're going to shove Jamie Hayter into this spot because we don't know what to do with Toni Storm being out.
Right.
And you've had time to think about it. You had time to build up like a Mina Shirakawa, and you haven't done it. You've had time to build up Marina Shafir, which you were kind of doing, but then you haven't done it. You got away from it. Like, you've got opportunities here, and you haven't done it.
Yeah, they started with Mina. Like, they started her on the tour.
Yep.
And
then they just stopped.
Yeah, it's been weird. It's just been
real weird.
This whole women's division is kind of bonkersville. So
yeah,
I don't know.
And you've got an Owen Hart Classic or Owen Hart Tournament or whatever its official name is with a bunch of people that we don't know who they are because they're coming from outside the company. Like, something is going on there, and I don't know what it is. I don't get it.
My worry is you're not the only one who doesn't know what it is. That's my worry.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong on that.
That's my big worry.
Yeah. So moving on from the mess that is the women's division to, again, the conglomeration, Orange Cassidy, Roddy Strong versus FTR. It was fun. It was fine. Yep. But I'll give him this. At one point, I did bite a little bit that I thought maybe conglomeration was going to win, even though I knew there's no way because it messes up your match at Double or Nothing.
Yep. But, man, there were some close 1-2 oohs.
There were. Close. They got me to bite a couple of times, so cheers to them on that. But, again, this is your go-home show, and it really didn't do anything to advance the story. Edge and Christian didn't come out.
Right.
So, overall, it was fine, but you could have easily tossed that on any Dynamite, and it would have been fine,
The issue I have, like you said, it's the go home show. The only storyline we had with the final match was Stokely still has Christian's watch, and that's what he used to win the match by bonking OC in the head.
Yep.
That's the only story thread in there, and that's pretty weak. I mean, there was more storyline thread in the women's match, and there was none. So for a go home show, the last two matches, entertaining. I liked them. But for the storyline, it didn't produce any more interest for me in FTR's match with Cajun Cope at all.
Yep.
Other than, well, they're going to keep the titles. Or, no. Nope. Yep, they are. They're going to keep them.
Yeah. This is the first go-home show that I can think of that AEW has done that I thought was pretty bad.
By their standards, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think it's a bad Dynamite. I don't think it's a bad Collision. I think it's a bad go-home show. And, if you put it in a vacuum and just say, hey, Tim, what did you think of Dynamite on Wednesday? Like, it was a good show. But if you say to me, hey, Tim, what did you think about Dynamite, or what did you think about the Double or Nothing go home? I would say it was not good.
Right.
It was not good because you didn't do a lot to build heat towards your pay-per-view that's on Sunday. And normally their go-homes are so good.
Yeah.
They usually do such a good job with them. So I don't know what happened tonight. The whole thing felt a little weird to me by who got involved and who didn't, who wrestled and who didn't. It really felt a lot to me like this whole show was put together with one thing in mind, and it was, for the love of God, keep everybody healthy.
Yeah. And you know what? If that's the case, I'm not going to get too upset because I 100% understand because they've been getting bit. But my bit, and I understand that, but I think there's a way. What I found interesting is that the storylines they did bother with were the ones that already had heat and momentum going.
Yes.
And there was more attention paid to those, which they needed to, but it's like there was zero attention paid to the other storylines, and yet we had other matches. And it's like, okay.
Right. And so you've got to go home for Double or Nothing. Again, one that I would call one of their big four. And you and I joke about it, but we also know it's true that they're going to cram a ton of matches onto this show. This is going to be a long show because they always are. Is the TNT title going to be defended on this show? Because as of right now, I don't think it is.
I was looking for, so far, confirmed match card. The TNT title is not on the line.
Right. And that's Kevin Knight, one of your, hot up-and-coming stars, right?
He's not even on the card.
So you didn't make that match, which I assume will probably be announced on social media between now and Sunday. But you didn't make that match. I don't know what they're going to do with the TBS title that's now vacated. You could have started some. I mean, look, I get it that that's a quick turnaround Wednesday to Sunday, and your women's division is a mess, and it seems like you've only got about 7 of them anyway.
Right.
That are healthy or whatever. So okay, fine. Maybe you're not going to start that at Double or Nothing, but so Willow cuts the promo and you don't have anybody say, oh, well, I would like that championship, please.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, logically, they should say, all right, fine. The winner of the Owen is also going to be the champ. Because
I think that would make sense.
You've already got your 4 women world title holders or contenders in one match. So you already have a mini tournament going, just slap the belt on the trophy and be done with it.
Yep. I completely agree with you on that. And that may be what they end up announcing, but I think that was an easy solution that was right there in front of them. The women's tag team championships, again, are nowhere to be found on the Double or Nothing card. The trios championship, nowhere to be found on the Double or Nothing card. And you didn't do anything to build any stories that weren't like you said, that weren't Stadium Stampede, Edge and Christian and FTR, and the world title match. And Joe, well, I'll take it back. You got some heat on Bandido and Swerve. That's the one.
Yes, that's the one that they put a little bit of, and by the way, that was a very little bit of effort, but it was okay. And it was, if that should have been like the weak spot instead of one of the stronger points in the storyline telling. So that shows how weak the rest were. But yeah,
I am, from a standpoint of this being a go home show, I'm disappointed. I really am. And like I said, the theme of the night was, I don't know what you did to advance the storyline here.
Exactly.
For the most part, you had, by my count, you had 1, 2, 3. I think you had 5 segments on a 3-hour show that advanced a storyline for your pay-per-view that's Sunday.
Okay.
I don't think that's a great batting average.
No.
So that is a bummer to me. Again, in a vacuum, it's not a bad show. It's a perfectly cromulent episode of Dynamite.
I don't know what that...
That is a Simpsons reference. Excalibur is loving it.
Thank you, Excalibur.
He loves that reference. It's a Simpsons reference.
Here's and you made this point, and it's really stuck out to me since. This women's 4-way shouldn't be.
No, it shouldn't be.
Because all they've been doing is talking to Sheeta and Statlander. No, maybe I missed it, but has anyone talked to Hayter about her being in that match?
Not that I've seen.
So why? And you're absolutely right. It makes so much more sense to have that be a 3-way. And then there's more inherent drama already, because now you're like, okay, are they going to team up? Are they going to turn? Who's going to turn on who? Is someone going to join Tekla? Or are they, what's happening? But by throwing Jamie Hayter in, like you said, you take away a tag team that could be legitimately challenging for the belts on this pay-per-view and would be an exciting match and a good match, and probably the only quality tag team match you could put in the women's division at the moment. And so now you have more interest in 2 title matches on the women's division, and that's great. All by changing one thing and pulling Hayter out and just having them team, have her team with her tag team partner.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, right now, Alex Windsor isn't on Double or Nothing. And Alex Windsor is another one of those people.
Yes, she is. She is. She's
but I think there's only one women's match from the Owen that's happening on Double or Nothing. I don't think it's hers.
You're right. It's Mina against, who's Mina taking on? Doesn't matter. It's the Mina Shirakawa match.
It is. Yeah.
I thought, is she taking on Alex Windsor though?
I don't know. Let me see if I can pull it up. But
I have it right in front of me. Why am I not looking at it? Yeah. No. It was going to be Alex Windsor against Willow. That's who that was.
Oh, okay. So now it's going to be her in the wild card. which we
no,
think
it's
might
going
be
to be
Mercedes.
it's going to be Alex versus a wild card, but that's not going to be on the pay-per-view now. Now the Mina
Okay,
match.
now it's I just got it. I just pulled it up. Now it's Mina Shirakawa and Athena. Yeah.
Yes, Athena. Who, by the way, I'll watch more of her any day.
She's great. Tremendous. Love that she's on the pay-per-view. Have no problem with it.
Yep.
But you had them in a match together tonight and you didn't hype this up.
Right.
You know what I mean? You didn't build heat for that match. So it wasn't a great go home.
No,
It just
like
wasn't.
I said, that women's match, at first I thought there was no reason to have it. But looking back, I was like, oh, wait, you had 4 people in that match that were going to go be fighting now more. I think everyone was going to fight each other at could have been at the pay-per-view, but you didn't hype that up at all in that match.
Mm-mm.
You didn't
No.
have them pair off. Tekla barely got in. Her and Hayter
Mhm.
should have been going at it.
Yep. And
Mina-
going, yeah. I don't think Mina and Athena went at it, or if they did, it was pretty quick.
And they, again, the announce team wasn't hyping it.
Nope. And I mean, going back to what you said of, we haven't heard from Jamie Hayter at all about this 4-way match. You know who else hasn't really talked about it? The friggin' champion.
Tekla, yep.
I don't think she's talked about it at all. So
I think she has mentioned it, and I think she just said "dumb bitch, dumb bitch, dumb bitch."
I think you're right,
That was
because
it.
that's her thing right now, and that'll be a T-shirt soon too, I'm sure.
Should be.
Yeah, but you needed, so I'm looking at the official card as it stands right now on Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
You've got great heat going for the World Championship match. You have no heat for the women's 4-way. You should have used your 3 hours tonight to build some heat there. You didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
The I Quit match, fine, whatever. They did a hype video for Takeshita and Okada. I get it that Okada is not there right now and he's going to have to fly in from Japan. Fine. But, that was a rivalry that they turned the heat way down on, that they needed to get the heat back up on. I'm not sure they've done that. Okay, you did a little more with Stadium Stampede. Cool. You did more with Ospreay and Joe. Cool. You did more with Swerve and Bandido. Cool. And then there's Mina and Athena that you and I couldn't remember was on the card. So from that standpoint, if you look at it just off what I did there, you go, okay, well, it's maybe not that bad. There's 2 matches that don't have any heat on them. That's not that bad. The problem is they're going to shove a bunch more matches on you.
Yeah. Because and right now, that's 8.
That's 8. And if they kept it at 8, I wouldn't have a problem with it. If we kept it at 8 matches and 6 of them have some level of heat on them, right? I'd go, okay, fine. Because I have watched a ton of pay-per-views over the years, whether it was WCW or WWF or whatever, where there were maybe 5 matches on the card I genuinely cared about. Usually it was less than that, Yeah, sometimes it was 1, and that was usually the world title. But so I wouldn't have a problem with it if the card stays at 8 matches and 6 of them have pretty good heat. But I don't think this thing is staying at 8 matches because there's no 0 hour on what I'm looking at right now. And we know there are going to be matches on that. And you can say, well, it's the pre-show. It doesn't matter. And that's fine. And I don't necessarily disagree with it. But they're going to put more matches on there. And I bet at least 1 more is going to get put on the main card, and it's probably the TNT Championship, and that is going to be a match that has nothing going into it.
Right. Yeah. No one's thrown a challenge out for it.
No. So my guess is, like I said, they're going to put something on social media that's going to announce that Kevin Knight's going to defend the belt against insert person here, and there's going to be no heat on it.
Right.
And you're just going to hope that they put on enough of a banger that we don't care.
Right. And they probably will, whoever it is.
They probably will.
But with everybody calling out world title shots, you can't tell me someone in the back didn't go, well, I want that title. I'll call that one out.
Yeah.
Come on. After I saw 4 people do that with the world title, if I'm wrestling there, the first thing I do, I go, well, I'm calling Kevin Knight out. Screw this.
Yeah, I want the TNT Championship. Y'all can go nuts over the world title. That's fine. I want this one. Yeah. So
I'm not going to call out Mox. Screw that. But I'll call out Kevin.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? That's a match that is made that's not on this official card that I'm looking at right now. O'Reilly and Moxley.
Yeah, that's not even on the official roster.
So there's 7. We're gonna get to 8. Or no, I'm sorry. We were at
9.
8. That's 9. Sorry.
Yep.
We're gonna get to 10.
I think
I bet we're gonna get to 10. I think we will too, but
especially if they do a 0 hour.
Well, yeah, 0 hour is going to put you over 10, but I think the main card is going to get to 10.
Well, that's possible, yeah.
Which means there's going to be one match on that has 0 hype going into it, 0 story going into it.
Right.
And again, you had a 3-hour go home tonight.
Mm-hmm. And you're not doing a regular Collision on Saturday, not even a pre-taped one.
Yeah.
To jam an extra storyline in there.
Right. So I don't think this was the best use of a 3-hour show. That's, right. 2 days or whatever before your pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. A little disappointing in that regard.
Yeah, from that standpoint, I'm disappointed.
Yep.
Again, you talk about it in a vacuum as just a standard Dynamite or a Dynamite Collision hybrid. I don't have a problem with it, but that's not what it is. It's a go home, and look, congratulations to him, because do you know how many tickets are left for Double or Nothing on Sunday?
None?
1.
Are you kidding?
There's literally 1 ticket available as of this morning. 1.
Oh, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah. Which is hilarious to me because I thought Ticketmaster wouldn't let you do that. But
yeah.
But there's literally 1 ticket available. So it's sold out. And maybe that's why they were just like, yeah, we're good. I don't know. But you still got to get people to buy the show. And look, again, we just got done saying I've watched pay-per-views on less than 6 matches, So maybe they think like, okay, we're good. Maybe they've got pre-buy rates that they're like, we're good. I just think you could have kicked some of these up to a boil, and they didn't.
Right. And as I'm sitting here thinking about it, you could have saved Briscoe and Ciampa for the following Wednesday, because that felt like a blow-off.
Yeah, it did.
That felt like, all right, this is the culmination of their feud, and you're doing it in the go-home show before a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Save that so you have a big match after your pay-per-view, so you have at least one thing that you have in the chamber ready to roll other than the fallout from the pay-per-view. That would make sense, but we got a match that really meant nothing for the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no issues with the match, but again, when you're, 72 hours or whatever it is away from your pay-per-view, one of the things that they've been so good at in the past is they don't waste any time on the go-homes. Everything is building to the pay-per-view. Everything is to get you to Saturday or Sunday, whatever day they're doing the show. Ciampa and Briscoe didn't do anything to get you to Double or Nothing. The Roosh squash didn't do anything to get you to Double or Nothing. Love Roosh didn't do anything for you.
Nope.
I'm just running down.
The FTR conglomeration match barely did anything, and I'm going to say it really didn't do anything for that.
Agreed. I mean, yeah, I don't think it really did anything to get you to Double or Nothing. So, the Divine Dominion squash didn't do anything to get you to Double or Nothing.
Nope. Other than getting FTR on TV, it didn't do anything to advance that storyline.
Yep. So, as a go home, not their best work, but, I guess, again, to not end this on a Debbie Downer note here, they've done a good job of building Double or Nothing. I mean, like we said, there were 6 matches on the card that we were looking at that's missing one. But there were at least 6 matches on the card that's like, yeah, okay, I'm into it. So, I'm into Stadium Stampede, which I'm not sure I thought I was going to be when they first announced it. I'm way in on the world title. I'm in on the tag team match, so.
I'm in on Ospreay.
I'm way in on Ospreay and Joe. I'm in. Yep. You got, I was in for Swerve and Bandido anyway. You definitely helped that tonight.
Yep.
So, it wasn't all bad by any stretch of the imagination. And this is where I think they're a victim of their own success. Their go homes have been so good.
Right.
For
like
years.
When you said you were disappointed, I said by their standards.
Exactly.
Because they haven't had anything but basically a home run every time.
Yeah.
So they hit a triple. Okay.
Right.
And they drove in 2 runs. Okay.
Right.
Sorry, it wasn't a home run, but it was still good.
Yeah. So anyway, overall a good show, not necessarily the greatest go home they'll ever do, but overall a good show. And Double or Nothing, I think, is shaping up to be a pretty fun show.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you heard that, but that was my chair.
I did hear that. I thought it was your butt.
I'm a little afraid that at any minute I'm going to end up on the floor. This thing's just going to give out, and you're just going to see my feet sticking up in the air. Like it's the Wizard of Oz and a friggin' house just fell on me.
I don't want you to get hurt, but I kind of want to see it. I'll just wait.
I was gonna say just everybody get comfortable. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. So we're both looking forward to the pay-per-view. I think it'll be good.
I thought you were gonna say we're both looking forward to me getting hurt.
No, I'm not looking forward to you getting hurt. I am looking forward to the possibility of seeing your feet go flying up in the air and you going, whoa. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the pay-per-view. Stampede has me the most intrigued because I don't know if they've got too many people in it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that this leads to some post Double or Nothing storyline action with just that one match, because you could have a lot of storyline action coming out of it. And I hope we do get that.
Yep, I agree.
And
my fear with Stadium Stampede is there's too many people. And my fear with FTR and Edge and Christian is it's overbooked. Because it's I Quit, but also Edge and Christian can't team together anymore. It's possibly overbooked. But, again, if we do some storyline building, like you said, particularly with Stadium Stampede, then it was worth putting 14 there.
Yep.
So we'll see. I'm intrigued enough by it that we'll see, that I'll be on board for it. And I'm curious to see who ends up shining the most in that match.
Right. I hope we get some Hurt Syndicate action.
I do too. I have a theory Jack Perry might come out of it looking the best.
It's possible. Yep. That's 100% possible.
Yep. So we'll see. We'll find out on Sunday.
Yes, we will.
And we'll find out if Max is going to be looking like me soon.
I don't know. And that's the weirdest, most fun part. I don't know.
Yep. So, all right. On that note, we will be back at this then, I'm going to say on Monday.
Okay.
I'm going to say we'll put the Double or Nothing recap out on Monday. So if you want to make sure that you get that via the magic of cellular communication and the internet, then you need to hit subscribe. You need to follow, and you need to like, and you need to possibly buy me a new chair.
Maybe, yes. And look, if you're buying him a new chair, get him a mic stand.
Yeah, that too. Remind me to fix the damn thing, because I keep forgetting. Will it be fixed on Monday? Tune in to find out.
I'm guessing no.
It's a pretty good guess.